Why do most proposals absolutely suck? Welcome to the Same Side Selling Podcast. I am your host, Ian Altman. I invite the members of our Same Side Selling Academy to share with me and submit their emails and proposals for review and feedback. And it's something that gives me insight into what could be holding people back. And recently, a member shared with me their proposal. And I got to tell you, when you first look at it, it's like a piece of art. I mean, this thing, clearly, they had engaged a design firm or someone with amazing visual skills to format and lay out this thing because it looked really fantastic. And it clearly explained their company's background, their technical expertise and skill level. It described their brilliant team and their mission and vision for how they serve their customers. And so if you look at it on the surface, you go, wow, that sounds like it's something pretty compelling. Though there's a little bit of a trap here. See, I've done research with over 10,000 executives around the world on how people make and approve decisions. And the interesting thing is that all that information that's in the proposal doesn't factor into how people make and approve decisions. Rather, the questions that people ask are pretty straightforward. They ask, what problem does this solve? Why do I need it? And what's the likely result or outcome? In fact, what we find is that the reason people pick one service firm over another is not their capabilities, not their experience. Rather, how well do they feel that vendor understands their situation? Which means that this brilliantly formatted, comprehensive analysis of the company, meaning the vendor who's presenting themselves, is somewhat irrelevant when it comes to the needs of that customer or that client. So instead, what we need to realize is, okay, if that's the case, then a proposal that talks all about us really doesn't matter. Instead, it should be all about the client. So that proposal, instead of saying, here's everything about us, should say, here's everything about you, the client. So you should be able to articulate in a proposal something that says, here's our understanding of your situation. Here's the problem you're trying to solve. Here's what you've tried to do in the past to address that problem. Here's what happens if you don't solve that problem. And here's how important it is to solve that compared to other things on your plate. Here's our approach to solve that. And coming out of it, this is the success. And these are the measurable results that we feel we'll be able to achieve together. And in order to achieve that, here's the investment. And by the way, here are some case studies and examples of people similar to you who we've helped address this exact or similar situation. See, no one cares about your qualifications. No one cares about your experience. No one cares about how many offices you have or how many employees or how many partners or how many associates. What they care about is how well do you understand their situation and how does that position you to help them? Now, if you can explain to them, here's the problem that you said you're looking to solve, and we have experience solving that. Here are the different things that you've tried in the past, and here's our understanding of why those things wouldn't have worked. Here's why this is so important to you, and it's similar for our other clients. And here's what you said success needs to look like. And here are the skills and capabilities we have that help minimize the risk to help you achieve that result. Now your expertise becomes relevant because your expertise at that point is all centered around delivering for them. You know, it's this thing of we assume that everyone understands why they need what we do, and they just don't. So we need to be able to articulate and ask the right questions about the problems that they solve. So if we understand the problem that the client is trying to address, if we understand what it is that is holding them back, and we can explain that to them, then the person reading the proposal says, wow, this is all about me. Now, here's the interesting part. You might think, well, but I can't create a custom proposal for everybody. My guess is, for your business, like many others, the problems that you solve are pretty common across your clients. There's probably a handful of 6 or 7 different problems that you solve. In fact, 2 or 3 of them come to the top of the list more often than not. So it's not about a custom proposal for everybody. It's about here's our understanding of your situation and how we address those. I work with companies week in and week out on business growth issues. And guess what? I see the same recurring issues come up time and time again. But I can't make the assumption that everyone has the same problems because they don't. So I have to ask the right questions. And sometimes what I'll say to them is, here are the 3 hottest trends that I'm seeing today that businesses like yours are facing. How common are those? And people might say to me, well, you know what? Those aren't that big of an issue, but this other one is for me. More often than not, people say, yeah, 2 of those 3 are the same things that we're facing. And I'll say, okay, and what else? Well, this other issue is also really big for us. Okay, is that something we should address? Well, I'm not sure. Well, sometimes those things are a nuisance, and sometimes those are really important. How about for you? Because I don't want to assume that those are big issues for them just because they were big issues for somebody else. It gets back to this notion of letting your clients convince you they have a problem worth solving versus you trying to push them. So next time you're not getting the response you would like to from your proposals, what I encourage you to do is look at them. Are they talking about you or are they talking about the client? Are you focusing on the issue they're trying to solve, how it's impacting them by not solving it, how important is it compared to other things on their plate, and then what you're going to measure for success? And if you have those components, then you're giving people the right information so they can make informed decisions and feel like you understand their situation and you might just be able to help them get a better outcome. And when they see that you can help them get a better outcome, you'll probably get a better outcome too. If there are topics you'd like me to address, just drop me a note to ian@ianaltman.com. Please share this with your friends and colleagues who you think might find it helpful. And I'll see you next week on the Same Side Selling Podcast. So long.